You're watching the Wellness Hour, the leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, this is a big topic. The HCG Weight Loss program at AMI is getting a lot of attention lately because of the results they're getting with their patients. With us, we have the founder, Dr. Semel. Dr. Semel, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Now, a lot of information, even on our website, we get a lot of requests for information about HCG. It seems like just about everybody's talking about it. How popular is it in your center?
HCG is probably one of the quickest growing diets right now on the market.
Is that right?
If you look around and you see different cities, different places, HCG is probably the #1 new diet in the marketplace.
Does it work though?
Does it work? That's a good question. What happens when you bring a patient in through HCG, they look in the mirror within the first 30 days and they say to themselves, wow, why haven't I done this a long time ago? So in answer to that question, most definitely.
Okay, so and before we get into the specifics, I have a lot of questions about HCG. Tell me about AMI. I mean, you do a lot of things there. Who's the typical patient? What are the procedures you do? What are you known for?
Right, well, pretty much anyone is a typical patient. Anyone who's trying to lose weight, who's been on the roller coaster diet ride that they haven't been able to lose weight, or they lost the weight, gained it back. That's the typical patient. Your mother, your father, your children, your grandparents, those are the type of patients that we see every day in our office.
Tell me about some of the weight loss statistics, results.
Okay, in our office, I would say 95% of the patients lose a pound a day. It depends upon how much weight you need to lose.
Really? Okay.
There are some factors why patients don't lose weight, and there are underlying disease processes that we find out about in our center, whether the patient has a sluggish thyroid, whether their insulin glucose levels aren't correct, whether they have a hormone deficiency. These are things that we research and go into diagnostic testing to find out why this patient isn't losing weight.
Okay, now what's your biggest weight loss winner that's used HCG so far, by the way?
I think we have a woman, she's lost 150 pounds. We have a
Really?
mother and daughter that came into our office. Between the two of them, they've lost 130 pounds.
Is that right? And
Yes.
A lot of 80-pound losses and 70-pound losses, is that right?
Most definitely, and very rapidly as well. Being that it's physician supervised, we're able to get our patients to lose a pound a day. We bring them in for diagnostic testing. As I said, the blood work is done pretty much every 30 days to make sure the patients are losing the weight properly. Their nutritional diets are set so that they know they're getting the right nutrients in their body, so they don't have any problems moving forward with it.
Okay, and by the way, as far as weight loss, what's your overall, if we had to say your approach? Because, I've looked at your website and we've talked on the telephone. It's more than just HCG. I mean, you're doing some, pretty advanced stuff. Tell me about that. Tell me about your approach.
Well, when we give a patient HCG, first of all, they have to meet the standards for HCG, meaning when we do the blood test, they have to have the right factors in order to take HCG. Also, we use an appetite suppressant, and there's what we call pharmaceutical grade nutraceuticals that we give the patient.
So there's a medical doctor there that can prescribe these medications.
Sure, we have medical doctors on staff, nurse practitioners, nutritionists. We have a whole staff of individuals to help the patient reach their goals.
But back to your program. I mean, you're doing a lot of different testing as well.
Sure. We're more of a functional medicine wellness center as well.
Okay.
If you come in and you have a problem with diabetes, your thyroid is sluggish, those are things that we're going to look at and fix. Many factors are involved in it. If you're taking, let's say, Synthroid medication at the time when you come in because your thyroid's not working properly, we'll try to put you on a desiccated thyroid, which we feel is healthier and more able for your body to assimilate and pretty much digest, as we say, or to use it up rapidly. When you're taking Synthroid, this is a synthetic hormone. Synthetic hormones are very difficult for the body to break down, and there's always something left in the fatty tissue which helps you, or really helps the body, lose its immunity.
So you're testing for hormones. What else are you doing?
Well, when we test for hormones, the next thing that we do after we test for hormones, we're looking for the person's BMI. What is your BMI? Your basal metabolic index. Making sure that your basal metabolic index meets the criteria for you to be on this particular diet. Okay. The other things that we do in the office, we're trying to deal with stress factors. Stress is a really large component on why people start to gain weight. They have cravings due to stress, amino acid deficiencies, neurotransmitter deficiencies. These are all things that we look at and fix in our office. Very simple to fix them sometimes, basically by giving a patient a supplementation of amino acids. When I say that we give our patients different things such as vitamins, amino acids, we also give them omega-3 essential fatty acids. These are all necessary components when you're on a low caloric diet, such as the HCG diet.
Okay, you're also looking at food allergies for this weight loss program.
Correct.
How so? Tell me about that.
Well, that's another factor.
How does that make you fat?
Right. Another factor is you come into the office and we find out you're allergic to certain foods. Let's take, for instance, gluten. Gluten is something that that probably 65% of the population is allergic to, and we don't even know that.
Really?
You can eat a piece of bread, some pasta, you may feel bloated. What happens is it causes an inflammatory response in the body. When that occurs, your metabolism starts to slow down because of the inflammation that's being caused to the body. So now when we find this, we're able to slowly take it out of your diet, and you see the inflammation go down and the pounds start to shed from the body.
Okay, but with weight loss, by the way, I mean, most people, I always feel like, we know what we have to do, but we can't do what we know because the cravings are out of control. Does the HCG help with cravings? Help me understand the HCG role here.
Okay, well, HCG does help with cravings. However, there's other things that we give along with the HCG. Something like 5-HTP goes along with the HCG. Other amino acids in the body. Amino acids really basically control the brain's function up into the hypothalamus. They control the neurotransmitters. Amino acids are the building blocks for proteins which build muscle in our body. However, every message comes from the brain to release this stimulation of these amino acids to the body. If your body's not functioning correctly because you're not able to absorb the amino acids from your food, then you're going to go into a slow metabolic rate. And therefore, the neurotransmitters such as norepinephrine, serotonin start to decrease. Not only do you have depression, but the cravings increase.
So you wipe out cravings?
We wipe out cravings.
Really?
The patient,
do they say that? Do they say, I'm not hungry on this program?
Well, the patient,
that seems to be the biggest issue.
The patient also has to take control of his life. What happens is, after the first few days, anywhere from 3 to 4 days, if you stop eating gluten products, your body will not crave those any longer. Same thing with sugar. So what we do the first 3 to 5 days is we really put you through the regimen. So at that point, once you're off of it, your body doesn't crave it.
Okay, with HCG, by the way, couldn't somebody argue, okay, well, I looked it up on online, that with 500-calorie diet, everybody's going to lose weight anyway.
Sure.
Good luck staying on that low calorie of a diet.
Right. Well, we don't really keep our patients on such a low caloric intake. We try to bring them up to 800 to 1,200 calories, and the type of calories are very important. You could eat 500 calories, which are very non-nutritional for your body, slowing down the metabolic rate, and you will gain weight for some patients because they're not burning the oven, which is the coal oven of our metabolic rate. So really what we basically say to our patients, eat 6 small meals a day. Keep the oven burning. So that's really important.
But, one of the things you told me on the phone, you said that the HCG combined with, let's say, 1,200 calories, people that normally can never be on that low of a calorie diet, the HCG helps it more, helps them,
sure.
It's tolerable.
Well, what the HCG does...
Is there any science? I mean, could you help me understand what's going on?
It delivers beta endorphins to the brain, which is a happy thing for us. It's our sensor to say, hey, life is good.
Really? So that's what HCG does?
That's one of the things it does. The other thing it does is prevent muscle wasting, which is very important, because when you're on a low-caloric diet, if you're 100 pounds overweight, when you lose the weight, everything is starting to hang off of you. HCG helps maintain the muscle in your body. It doesn't waste away the muscle. When your body goes into a plight of starvation, it'll first eat its muscle before it eats its fat. So it's very important to sustain the muscularity of your body, and HCG does that.
Now we're going to take a quick break. We come back. I want to know, I want you to take me through the process, what people can expect on day one starting the weight loss program. You're watching The Wellness Hour, leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. We'll be right back. You're watching The Wellness Hour, leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. Today's topic, HCG weight loss. With us, we have an expert on the topic, Dr. Semel. Okay, so, and by the way, how many people, I mean, you've had thousands of people that have lost weight on this.
5,000 patients, yes.
Really? So let's start with on day one. What happens on day one
okay.
on the program?
On day one, patient comes into our office. We go through a whole physical and family history background. Okay. Then we take out the blood for the patient, and we get the blood results back, and we look at the patient, and we say, this patient is a candidate for this type of diet. We take the patient, we put them on the proper medications for them, and each patient, this diet is tailor-made for each individual. Some patients are able to take certain appetite suppressants and others aren't. Some patients are able to take certain nutraceuticals and others aren't. So we tailor-make it for each patient so that it fits what they need so they can reach their goals and be successful with it.
Okay, so the testing that you're doing, help me understand what you're looking for. What are some of the testing?
Well, first of all, if we're looking at a lipid profile, we're looking to see what's your cholesterol, what are your triglycerides, what's your C-reactive protein. We're making sure that you're not a candidate for some type of cardiovascular problem. We're making sure your blood pressure ranges are fine. We're looking at thyroid, making sure your thyroid's not the reason why you're not losing the weight. We're looking at insulin, looking to see if you're diabetic or borderline diabetic with an A1C test. So there's many things that go into the testing to make sure that this patient is going to do well with this type of diet that we're planning for them. The food sensitivity test that we're doing to see if the patient's allergic to anything, which will also deter their weight loss program, is called an ALCAT test.
Okay.
This test tests the patient on a cellular level. It goes right down to the mitochondria to see how the cell is reacting to this particular food group. If we find that the patient is not reacting well, we take it out of their diet slowly.
Is that rare, by the way, to find a food allergy?
Most definitely not. Most patients have some type of food allergy.
Really?
Oh, for sure. In fact, most of the allergies that we have in life are due to foods that we eat. If you go outside and you're allergic, let's say you have hay fever, that's usually an antigen to antibody response to something that you're taking in your body, then the hay fever just causes that response.
One of the things, and people just tuning in, we're talking about HCG and weight loss, and you run one of the largest centers in the country and that you founded as far as HCG weight loss. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And by the way, why do you think you're successful, or more successful than most that are trying to do this?
That's a good question. I think because the way we treat the patient as an individual, there's no one size fits all. Every patient spends time with the physician who's treating with them. They don't just come in and sit down with the doctor and he's in and out of the office in 10 minutes. This is a lifetime change. So we sit there and we coach our patients. Every individual in our office, from our nurses to our consultants to our physicians, spends a lot of time with the patient.
Okay, good. You know, look, I've interviewed thousands of medical doctors, and this is a real interview. I'm not endorsing you in any way, but I will tell you, I mean, I've been inside and talked to some of the biggest centers in the country, and this is about the most, well, I would say, by far the most comprehensive diet program that I've ever seen. I mean, the kind of testing you're doing, you're looking at hormones, you're looking at food sensitivities or allergies. Good for you, good for you. But again, this HCG, it's not the typical 500 calorie diet that you look up on the internet. That's not the way you're doing it.
Certainly not. There's different phases of the HCG diet. The diet consists of a 45-day program. After that program, what's next? Because some patients still have weight that they need to lose. We go through a detoxification program. What's happening with the toxins that build up in your body? They're sitting there poisoning your system. So now we have to get rid of them. So detoxification is a really important part of that.
Is that right? Okay, so, and you said, Randy, I got to make sure I mention, the team, the accountability. How important is that at your center?
Most definitely, because sometimes patients feel like they're on their own. They need someone there to coach them, to hold their hand, to make them feel that their goals are realistic. Very, very often in most diet plans, the reason why patients fail is because there's no one there to help them through this. There's no one there to coach them and to give them support. Our support systems really help the patient get to their goals.
And what are your programs? I mean, is it a month-to-month? Is it a 12-week program? And what is it?
Our basic program is a 90-day program, doing the HCG, doing the nutraceuticals, getting on the detoxification part of the program, and then there's follow-up to make sure that you're able to consistently stay with a nutritional balanced lifestyle, possibly getting into a workout regimen that'll really help you sustain what you've achieved.
Okay, so you said the basic program is the 90-day program. What's the other program?
Well, the other program is a lifetime program. Also, most of our patients, when they get to the age over 40 years old, they go on to we call the anti-aging program or the hormone supplementation program. As we age, Father Time, for some reason, has been very cruel to us. Hormones start to become deficient in our body. When that starts to happen, our metabolism slows down, libido starts to decrease, we start to get insomnia, some of us get depression, skin changes, muscularity changes. We put a patient on a type of program that changes all of this, gives them back the vitality. They feel like they're back in college, many of our patients.
Interesting. I've had one of your doctors on my show. World-class shape. And this guy walks in here into the studio with a t-shirt. He's ripped, looks fantastic. I see you too, by the way, without that suit. You're walking around in great shape. So
we preach what we practice.
Is that right?
Yes, that's part of it. I wouldn't give to my patients what I wouldn't do.
Now this AMI, I mean, you call yourself Weight Loss and Anti-Aging Center, also anti-aging. Is that what this is? I mean, it's more than just a weight loss program?
Most definitely. It's a way of life. It's a transformation of life, going from old types of traditional medicine, combining that with a new type of medicine, integrative medicine with new technology. Our goal is to help patients live longer and healthier through their lives. And most patients today, they think that by the time they're 75 years old, they start to decay. And that's not the truth. You can start living a better, healthier life as you age in today's market.
So HCG, by the way, the results you guys get, without HCG, you couldn't get those results? I mean, are you that sold on it?
I'm not sold on it.
Really?
There is some controversy with HCG, but most of it comes from people who've never tried or physicians who've never really studied the
What is the controversy, by
process.
the way?
Well, the controversy said, well, maybe it's not really what it says it is. It doesn't work for some patients. Nothing works for everyone, of course.
It's an injection, is that correct?
There's two different ways to take it, of course, but there's injectable, and then you can do it orally through a drops or through a tablet.
Okay, what do people like the most?
The injectable
What do you
works.
like?
The injectable works the best to me. It goes right to the blood. It has about I'd say a 30% more efficient rate than taking it orally.
Okay, and what role do supplements play in your program?
Supplements
To help with their cravings and things like that.
It's also very important. We live in a very toxic society. Our water table is polluted. The environment that we breathe, our air is polluted. The foods that we eat, they're full of chemicals, pesticides, and herbicides. So how do we overcome the nutritional supplementation in our bodies that we're not bringing in due to the lack of it in our food? We have to take something to take the place of it. So what we use in our office, it's a pharmaceutical grade nutraceutical. If you go to certain places such as a health food store, you don't know what you're getting. There could be a lot of filler in those vitamins and nutrients that you're taking. Ours is 100% pure. We have a belief system, and we pretty much tell that to every single one of our patients. This is the way it's going to have to be in your life. If you want to have a happy life, see your grandchildren, be able to walk in the park when you're 65 years old. Many of our patients come to us, they can't walk up a flight of steps. A woman has 2 children. On her 3rd child, she hasn't been able to lose the weight. She can't play with the kids. These people want their lives back, and we give it back to them.
So do you see transformations? I mean, life-changing things
every day?
week?
This is the greatest gratification I get in my practice every day, is seeing the transformation of someone whose life has changed and they're able to do the things they weren't able to do. Okay. It's cutting-edge technology. It's the new type of medicine going forward into the future. This is what doctors are going to be practicing. It's preventative medicine. The United States is number 37th in the world in prevention. Why is that? We have the best doctors, the best facilities. We can do better in preventing disease, and that's what the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine is about.
One of the things you told me on the phone, which I love, you said, you know, when they drop 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, their blood pressure goes down. Their diabetes, in certain cases, is reversed. So it's more than just a weight loss program.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
It's a disease process of changing the disease from the disease to the prevention of further disease, from eliminating it entirely from your body and from your life.
So HCG, it's nothing to be afraid of.
Nothing to be afraid of. Human chorionic gonadotropin.
What do patients say? I mean, what are some of the things that they say that they like about your program? Because probably, you know, you attract probably some lifelong dieters, right?
Sure.
What do they like about this?
Well, the first thing is that most of our patients come from referrals from people that have gone through the program.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Which is, to me, the best way to get a patient. To me, it says something about what we're doing, what we're giving to the community, what people's lives are changed for the better when they look in the mirror and they look at their self and say, hey, look how my clothes fit, look how my body looks. When they're able to fit into that bikini during, you know, the swim season that they weren't able to fit into before, they were ashamed to even go to the beach. It's transforming their lives. It's a whole change. And their families notice it and say, wow, look, they come in, they write us letters and they say, look what you did for my mom. She's so much happier now, you gave her back her life.
And your program, I'm going to quote you because your program allows people to do more of what they love to do in life. Elaborate on that.
Yes. Well, it's funny. I have different patients, and I try to remember these great stories that they tell me. One of my patients, she has grandchildren, and for the last 5 years, after having her hip replaced, she wasn't able to do anything with them. She pretty much most of the time just sat on the couch and watched TV, wasn't able to do anything. She was about 45 pounds overweight. After being on the program for 2 months, she lost the weight. And the 3rd month, all of a sudden, the detoxification program kicked in, and she was feeling better than she had before in 20 years.
What are the age ranges, by the way? I mean, from the low end to the high end that are on this HCG?
Pretty much anyone.
We have 70-year-olds on the program, which is young today.
70-year-old people are on the diet.
Really?
Because the diet is safe.
So what's your oldest patient that you
Our
had?
oldest patient was an 82-year-old woman who had a problem. She had
82.
Yeah, she was at a point in her life where she was just giving up. She was overweight. Her life there was nothing left. Her husband had died a few years before, and her children lived in another state, and she was very unhappy with life, and she was very depressed. Being that she was overweight, she didn't know where to turn, and she had seen a friend of hers who was much younger, 20 years younger than her, lose the weight, her neighbor, and she asked her how she did it, and she told her. So her friend brought her in because she didn't drive any longer, brought her into the office, and she went on the diet, and after the first month, she lost 17 pounds. and she joined a dance club, a social club. She went dancing 2 times a week after that, and just started to live life again.
That's big. I mean, 17 pounds on an 80-year-old woman, that's big.
She was ecstatic, and so were we, because we don't see patients that old all the time that are on the diet, but that's our oldest patient, and we were very happy with the results.
What do you want people to know about your center in particular when it comes to weight loss?
Well, our center is not just a weight loss center. It's a place where people go, where they can get the support in life where they need to realize they can reach everything that they've dreamed about that they couldn't do in the past, to reach their health goals, to not worry about dying at a young age or not being able to do the things they want to do. It's like it's a safe haven for people to go who are afraid to go to doctors. A lot of patients, they're afraid to go to the doctor to find out, hey, you're not doing well. Your blood pressure's high, your cholesterol's high, you're sick, you're gonna have to be on 5 or 6 different medications. We're the type of place where we take our patients off of those medications.
Is that right? I mean, you wean people off medications? I spoke to one of your medical doctors.
Yes, we do.
Says that, even off Prozac and some of these other things.
Most definitely. Whenever you take a patient off a medication, it's done slowly, but over time, it's successful. And the patients, once they get off the medication, the side effects that they were experiencing before are now gone. They don't have to live on that lifestyle any longer of every morning waking up and taking a pill.
HCG Weight Loss. And so how can somebody find out more? They just go to your website. I know you got a lot of testimonials on there. Patients that are bragging about all the weight that they lost.
Yes, we do. Yes. When I think about that, it really makes me feel warm inside about what happens. I get chills about it because of the testimonials that we have. And I look at it, I say, this is really something that in the history of weight loss has never been done before.
Really?
Most definitely, because the weight loss industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry in this country and around the world.
So what's never been done before, though? What do you mean by that?
It's never been done to the point of changing people's lives to the point where they don't go on this roller coaster, not gaining the weight back. They don't lose the weight, and 6 months later they gain the weight back, because now their lives are managed.
So with this HCG, I think there's like a time frame. I think I read that means they don't stay on it forever. Mm-hmm. What's that about? Tell me about that.
Right. Well, HCG, once you start taking it, 45 days is what is recommended. Your body starts to get used to it. It doesn't work as effectively. So now the patient comes off it for 30 days and they can take it again. However, our goal is to set your metabolism, or to reset your metabolism. And this starts out with brain transformation. As I said before, the hypothalamus is the center of where it starts. Okay. So getting to the hypothalamus and making the change with the HCG product is what we think really works best.
So the program on the HCG diet, and we're just about out of time. So it's either a 90-day program, right? That's the basic program, 90 days. Do they come in weekly?
Patients come in bi-weekly. Some patients only need to lose 10 to 15 pounds, so they may be finished with the diet within 30 days. However, most of the patients, I would say, need to lose 30 pounds or more to get to where they want to be. So they're there for the 3-month program. So yes, in answer to your question.
So they, would you say, I mean, tell me about your success rate. I mean, do you keep these stats? I mean, 50% of the people reach their goals? 80% of the people reach their goals?
Right. It's surprising to say that 95% of the patients reach their goals.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's a big number. And we won't have to, I mean, that's a fact. I mean, you keep those numbers 95%?
In our office, yes.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first month, what's the biggest amount anybody's ever lost?
Usually the patients lose up to 1 pound a day, but the most that we've seen is 40 pounds.
40 pounds. So women that come in 5'5", maybe 160 pounds, how much do they lose?
Well, as I said before, based on if there's
like a pound a day?
If there's any underlying problems, then we have to do a little bit more research. But if there's nothing that we need to worry about, then the patient loses 1 pound a day most of the time on this diet.
Is that so? 30 pounds.
30 pounds in a month.
In
a month. Sometimes 20, sometimes 15, but 30 pounds we've seen it many times.
Your 12-week program could be 90 pounds if they have that much to lose.
Yes. We've had many patients who lose the 90 pounds in 90 days.
Is that right? 90
pounds amazing,
in 90 days. You should make an advertisement that says
yes.
90 pounds in 90 days. That's a lot. That's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight, and a lot of physicians will say, "Hey, maybe that's not so safe to do," but it is safe when you're eating properly and you are physician supervised.
Okay. Medical doctors will watch this show, and their patients go to them and they're overweight. They don't know. What do you want them to know about your center?
I want them to know that they can feel safe sending their patients to us. Many physicians send patients to us. At first, they were a little skeptical, but once their patients came back to them and told them about this, they saw the patient, they never sent anyone to us before, then they started to send people to us. They would say, "How did you lose all that weight? You look great. I haven't seen you in a year, Mrs. Smith." "Well, I went to this place, Atlanta Medical Institute, and I've lost all this weight in 30 days. How did you do it?" "On the HCG diet." And they're like, "Wow, Let's send someone over there and see if it's really the truth.
But people need to know that not all HCG diets are the same.
No, there are a lot of HCG
diets.
diets.
You give people a lot more food, though, you say, than others.
This homeopathic HCG. Homeopathic HCG is titrated down to the point where there's very little HCG left.
That's an over-the-counter is what
That's
you're
an
telling me?
over-the-counter. You can buy it on the internet. It's not effective at all, and many people have bought it and expected to get the results. You cannot buy a pharmaceutical-grade HCG over the internet or over the counter.
So is there a particular kind of patient you'd like to see more of?
Yes, I'd like to see the patient that thinks they have already tried everything. They've gone through all the diets, they've had no success, and they've given up. Because our diet works. It's something that we're there, we take you through the necessary steps, and you can, after 20 days, 30 days, you can see the difference. I don't care who it is, they will see the difference if they follow the program.
And this is medically based. Okay, so as a recap, and help me understand. Okay, so obviously you're going to do some sophisticated lab work, food allergy testing, you're going to look at their hormones, and then you're going to recommend, you're going to give them a strategy. Is that right? Okay,
yes.
So the right kind of nutrition, the supplementation, you may even optimize their hormones. Is that right too?
Correct.
Your combination HCG and hormone replacement in certain cases?
Sure, depending upon the age of the patient. We also, not only do we give you all these pharmaceutical grade nutraceuticals, the HCG and the appetite suppressant.
Oh, appetite suppression medication.
Right. Sure, we're going to give you a list of what to buy in the supermarket. We're going to tell you what to eat and how to do it, how to cook it properly, and where to purchase it. Most of our patients end up saving anywhere from $50 to $200 a month on their shopping bills because now they're eating right. They're not eating all this filler stuff that they may have on the shelf.
Is it easy? I mean, do patients say it's easy?
It's easy to do, very easy to do. The reason why it's easy is because there's always someone there to help you get through it. You're not by yourself. You can make a phone call, you can stop by the office. Our nurses and doctors are always available to the patient.
Okay, great. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks
Very
for having
interesting.
me.
And it's all on your website.
Yes.
They can check out these testimonials
Yes.
and things like that. Very good.
They can come see us and visit us on the website. And the website is full of great ideas for recipes as well.
Okay, good. You've been watching The Wellness Hour, leader in medical news and information. I'm Randy Alvarez. If you would like to see this interview again online, visit our website. You can just put in HCG diet. You can put Dr. Semel's name and find it there. For now, I wish you good health.